I'm Terry Two Fingers. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Terry Two Fingers. I'm from a small city called Whanganui, that's spelled Whanganui, and it's on the west coast of the North Island of New Zealand, or Aotearoa, in the South Pacific Ocean. I'm calling this video Emergency Braking Number 1, the background. I'm recording this series of videos in the hope that either directly or indirectly, the point it makes will help riders to stop their bikes when they're confronted with the inevitable emergency braking situation. We Kiwis, that's the colloquial term for New Zealanders, are fortunate in that we have a long-standing government institution called the Accident Compensation Commission, or the ACC as it's commonly referred to here. It's like an insurance against injury as a result of any accident. This no-fault compensation scheme covers everyone, including visitors, who are injured in an accident in the country. Obviously, the ACC keeps statistics on any claims. Over time, this has resulted in a couple of things for motorcyclists. Firstly, and rather sadly, an additional levy has been placed upon the vehicle registration for motorcycles. No, that's not so great. However, it's also part of the Commission's legislated role to actually prevent accidents. Accordingly, ACC initiated an excellent program for motorcyclists entitled Ride Forever. Included in this program is a website with various how-to videos, also various printed advisory material, and also information about on-road courses, with the ability to book a place on one of these courses at your particular riding level and at a venue that's convenient to you. And the cost of these courses is surprisingly reasonable. In fact, you could say that they're very inexpensive. That's because they're heavily subsidised by ACC. Now, Ride Forever has a network of experienced motorcyclists contracted throughout the country to instruct the courses themselves. And they're great. I've now done 2 of them. Ride Forever Silver Certificate is described as a skills refresher course for returning riders, and the Gold course is the pinnacle of Ride Forever coaching. It's designed for experienced riders focusing on advanced skills and is made of modules that can be selected to best suit the aims of the riders attending the course. Now, I've been an enthusiastic dirt biker for some 50 years, but I don't have a wall full of trophies to show for it, lack of commitment and lack of talent, I guess. Then a couple of years ago, I suffered 2 separate minor rib injuries as a result of wearing my neck brace incorrectly. My own fault, really. Didn't stop me from riding, though, but it did get me thinking. Maybe it was time for a change in my riding direction. Then, coincidentally, I got a ring from my rather generous stepson with an offer that I just couldn't refuse. I must admit that if money grew on trees, then a cruiser would not have been my first choice of motorcycles to take on the road, least of all one that I had previously scathingly referred to as a Harley imitation. Not that I have anything against Harleys. You see, a couple of years ago, my stepson hit ice on his way to work and inevitably came down. No serious injuries, fortunately, but he took the bike home, and from there it languished in carport for a couple of seasons. For a relatively small sum of money, the boulevard then came into my possession. It was a little worse for wear, having been sitting in a carport for some time, and there were some damaged parts, but nothing I couldn't handle restoration-wise. However, COVID was then upon us, and there were the inevitable delays in getting the replacement parts. So I set about cleaning it up and polishing it until the parts arrived. Then a rather weird thing occurred. As I restored the boulevard, I became rather attached to it. I then realised that there was in fact a whole new two-wheeled adventure in front of me. It was road riding. Over the years I'd spent some time in hospital sharing a room with unfortunate road riders who'd had accidents. And indeed, many years ago, I lost a friend who did not get to hospital. While I did have 50 years plus of dirt bike experience behind me, I did know how much I didn't know about riding on the road. I did, however, know that the consequences of doing it wrong on the road could be rather serious, if not fatal. So I decided to learn what I could. A Ride Forever course was the obvious answer. There was only one other rider enrolled for my first course, that was for the silver certificate. Now, with only two of us, we were sure to learn a lot, and indeed we did learn a lot. However, during the day I was, shall we say, strongly corrected for covering the front brake with just my two fingers, my index finger and middle finger. However, my theory had been, and indeed my practice until then had been, that in an emergency braking situation, I would be able to start braking just that much sooner. Hopefully this would then allow me to come to a stop when I had a real emergency situation. Thus I would avoid any obstacle that had appeared in my path. My tutor, however, was adamant that the way I was doing it was in fact incorrect. He said what I should be doing was having my full hand on the throttle and then reaching out for the brake lever when required with all four fingers. He maintained that there was much more strength using four fingers rather than just the two, as I was doing, and I would be therefore stopping that much quicker. Now, the tutor's the tutor, and I was there to learn, so I readily agreed and completed the emergency braking exercise as per the tutor's instructions, and all went very well for the rest of the day. Now, I'm a bit of a YouTube freak, and it was just by chance that I opened a video presented by a Frenchman by the name of Sylvain Guintoli. I should add that he was also World Superbike Champion in 2014, and he's currently contracted to the Suzuki MotoGP team. Sure, it was titled Track Tutorial, and we had been warned by the Ride Forever tutor about not taking advice from YouTube videos. But in the first minute of this video, there it was. He was just using two fingers on the brake. I couldn't believe it. Then in the rest of the video, he went on doing some real serious braking. I mean real serious. Just using the two fingers. Enough so that he went down 4 gears in just 4 seconds. Now sure, the racetrack is the racetrack and the road is the road, but like they say, is anybody told that to the front tyre or for that matter the rest of the bike? It's really only the motorcyclist who's to make the distinction between the road and the track. And the bike and the tyres, hey, they don't care. And then when I did the Ride Forever Gold Certificate course, which was great too, we did around 260 kilometres, that's 160 miles of riding, predominantly on winding, generally relatively narrow country roads. We discussed emergency braking early on in the day. Once again, my concept of using just 2 fingers on the brake lever was, shall we say, rubbished by this instructor also. That was the second time my concept of 2-fingered braking had been, and this instructor was very dismissive of any motorcycling information presented on any YouTube video. What are the presenter's qualifications, he asked. All they really need is an idea and a camera. Hey, I've got those. The instructor had selected a straight piece of sealed road for us to do the actual emergency braking exercise on. It was approximately 1 kilometre or 0.6 of a mile in length, and there was very little traffic at this dead flat piece of sealed country road, and you could readily see if there was any traffic coming or about to enter the area. Our instructions were for each rider to get to a speed of 60 kilometres per hour, that's approximately 37 miles per hour, and then upon the instructor's command, via one-way radio, to brake as hard as we could, as in emergency braking. We then repeated the exercise at 80 kilometres per hour, or 50 miles per hour. At this point, I then politely asked the instructor if I could try the emergency braking exercise just using my 2 fingers, as in my index and middle finger. The instructor somewhat hesitantly agreed to my request. So I did my emergency stop from 80 kilometres per hour or 50 miles per hour using just the 2 fingers, and I'll swear, well, I'm pretty sure that I stopped in a shorter distance with just my 2 fingers than I had previously using all 4 fingers. We then went on to repeat the emergency braking exercise using all 4 fingers from 100 kilometres per hour, or 62 miles per hour. So, where to from here? While this video may appear like a put down of the Ride Forever courses, that was certainly not my intention. Rather, along with other YouTube presenters, I'm pointing out that maybe, just maybe, there is a better, quicker and safer method to brake in an emergency. 2 fingers or 4. So that's the background for my emergency braking trial. Check out the results of the trial on Terry 2 Fingers number 2, the emergency braking trial. See you then. Thanks heaps for watching, and take it easy.